So last year I ended up making a Oscar nominations reaction video as well as a top 10 movies of the year. I really like doing that every year. I'm going to just kind of keep doing that as a tradition. But before we get into the reaction for the Oscar nominations, let's look at my top 10 favorite films. These are my personal favorite and I think the best films of 2023. At number 10, probably not lots of people saw this, but it is The Killer from David Fincher. I saw this on Netflix. I think a stone cold assassin tale of revenge that's pretty simplistic is probably perfect for the likes of David Fincher, but I found the film very tightly paced, very interesting, and really well done. Very well crafted. It's just a masterclass in a director that's just very disciplined at this stage of his career. Story might not be everyone's cup of tea. I think some people might call it pretty predictable or by the numbers. You've kind of seen this movie before, but I think it does it better than most films like it, and that's why it is at number 10. But there were tons of other movies that I loved this year. At number 9 is Air. I don't know anyone personally that actually got around to seeing this. I think people saw trailers for it, but it had Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. It was directed by Ben Affleck, who I think is a very underrated and very capable director. But the story was excellent. Very well written, great performances, really well paced. Air is a classic kind of good that you don't really see too much of these days, but it was excellent. Number 8 is Barbie. I saw this in theaters with my wife. We had a really good time. I thought it was really good the first time I saw it, although I kind of wanted to see, I think if it were up to me, I probably would have adjusted some things, but when I got around to seeing it again and rewatching it, I kind of appreciated it even more, and some of my issues with it kind of went away after second viewing, and I think it's really good. Immaculate production design, wonderful costumes, great performances, smart script, clear direction. Barbie really packs a punch in every category, and it's totally worth seeing, especially from the filmmaking perspective. Number 7 was actually Wonka. I really had a good time with this. I wasn't expecting to like it so much, but it was so good. Timothée Chalamet does a great job, but really what sells it is the story and the emotional beats that it hits. Out of all Willy Wonka movies that have been made, even since the days of Gene Wilder, which is probably my personal favorite Willy Wonka movie, Wonka, I think, actually has the best story. It's very heartfelt, wonderful characters, great use of its music, too. I wanted to like it coming in, but I ended up loving it even more. Number 6 is The Iron Claw. I'm really glad I saw this because, wow, it's good. And it's good in a way that I can't really describe. You just got to go see it for yourself. I think it really hits home emotionally for a lot of people, especially a lot of men, young and old. You rarely see this kind of competency when exploring themes of masculinity, family, brotherhood, loyalty, ambition, passion, and of course the performances are off the charts, especially by Zac Efron, but really everyone does a wonderful job here in The Iron Claw. It kind of gave me vibes of a very emotional blend of The Wrestler meets Raging Bull, but it is very much its own thing and its own story, and it's totally worth watching. Okay, top 5, we're getting into like the favorites. I mean, these are just like cream of the crop for me. Number 5 is The Holdovers. If you've seen it, you know. If you haven't seen it, go see it right away. Just go see it right away. Paul Giamatti delivers yet again another career-defining performance. He might win it for the Oscars, and if he doesn't get nominated, I will be shocked. But, to me, this movie kind of felt like this interesting blend of Breakfast Club meets Dead Poets Society, but then, halfway through the movie, it very much develops into its own thing that is unique and has a special identity for itself. It's a very heartfelt script, very honest performances, great direction, and it's really good. And I don't think the director should take offense to people calling it a comfort movie. It's not like this warm, fuzzy, sentimental film. That's not what people are saying. What people say is the themes presented and how it's explored is comforting to them, because you don't see a lot of these movies get made. You know, these types of movies don't really perform well at the box office usually either, so it's hard to get these kind of films greenlit. But this was just excellent. I loved it, and I'm really excited to watch it every holiday season. It's just good. Number 4 is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I gotta be real, I think this is my favorite Spider-Man film to date. It has everything, and every frame, every second of this movie, I was just in awe, just like Into the Spider-Verse, but this is just like cranked up to an 11. And I was just in awe of every second of every frame that I was seeing. I'm like, how did they make this? No amount of behind-the-scenes footage really is going to even encapsulate the kind of work that these animators put into this film. I think the story's rock solid. I'm really looking forward to the finale, Beyond the Spider-Verse. I hope that comes out this year. But if it doesn't, it's okay. I'm very fine to wait as long as the filmmakers need to cap this trilogy off really well. They're 2 for 2 with this story of Miles Morales. I absolutely love it and everything about it. And I'm really excited to just rewatch it again. Number 3, I'm very happy to say, is Godzilla Minus One. I loved this movie so much. It is like my new favorite Godzilla movie now to date. I'm really glad I saw it in the theaters. I love how the film takes place during World War II time as well. If they were to create a franchise out of this movie, this would be the definitive origin story, I guess, of Godzilla, and they just nailed it in every regard. What I love and admire most about this movie is just how much they maximized every asset and resource they had to make the best quality movie possible with such a limited budget. You would not believe the budget of like 15 or 10 million or less with this. This does not scream a 10 to 15 million dollar budget movie. This screams, I don't know, add some more digits in there probably. The kind of talent that you're seeing on here is just unbelievable. Number 2, and if you know me, you know I'm a Scorsese fan, it's Killers of the Flower Moon. I don't know what to say about Scorsese films at this point other than he just keeps making masterpiece after masterpiece. And Killers of the Flower Moon is no exception. Man, Killers of the Flower Moon is just an incredibly heartbreaking and disturbing story that feels so thoroughly explored. I just don't see how this could get any better. It really is the full package, and I feel like every decision that the filmmakers made with Killers of the Flower Moon did the story justice and paid the right respect to the real story, to the real families, the real victims. Killers of the Flower Moon is wonderful. Just set aside a long time because it's 3.5 hours long, so it's not a casual watch. You're going to want to sit down, get your mind and heart ready to be taken on a journey that's going to last a long time. And it's not quickly paced either. This does have the feel of a long classic cinema epic, like the likes of Giant or something like that from the 50s. Speaking of long movies, this one's not quite as long, but number 1, my favorite movie of the year, and this is pretty decisive for me, I think it's Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer, I really think is Nolan's best work. It's the best written, it's the best crafted, the type of tension that the film creates as the film progresses, and the kind of subjective point of view that you put yourself into Oppenheimer's shoes. Everything's immaculate. Oppenheimer is like quintessential Nolan, but in the best way possible. I love everything about this movie. I really don't know what else to say about Oppenheimer besides the fact that I think it's his best film. And you know me, I'm a huge Nolan fan. I love the Dark Knight trilogy. You know, I love Dunkirk, Interstellar, The Prestige, Memento. I even like Tenet. You know, I like pretty much all of his movies. I think Oppenheimer is his best work. I really do. And I hope it wins Best Picture. And I'm confident it's going to get nominated, of course, but I hope it wins Best Picture. If it doesn't, it's okay. There's some great other movies out there. But Oppenheimer's my favorite. And it's not just my favorite of this year, it's my favorite year. It's probably my favorite movie of the last several years, if I'm being honest. For a movie that is kind of like hard to stomach all the way through, once I get to that ending shot, cuts to black, we see the credits, I'm like, I want to watch this immediately right now, once again. From an editing perspective too, these 3 hours fly by pretty quick, in my opinion. It's just scene after scene, dialogue after dialogue. It's very punchy, but it is like, for how much content they're kind of packing in one 3-hour movie, it breezes by and it feels so tightly paced and so sharp and precise with its pacing, with its rhythm, its editing. Performances too are of course amazing. I'm sure Cillian Murphy's gonna get a Best Actor nod. If he doesn't, that would be shocking. But I'm sure Christopher Nolan will also get a Best Directing nod, but I hope he gets a screenplay nod. I think it's one of the best screenplays like I've experienced in a movie in the last several years. It really is my favorite. I'm really happy with Oppenheimer. I'm glad I own the 4K. Talking about it now makes me want to rewatch it right now and not even watch the Oscar nominations, but we're going to do this anyway. Those are my top 10 favorite films of the year. There are some movies that I have not seen yet. I just couldn't get to all of them. It was a stretch to even get to as many as I did. I still need to see The Boy and the Heron. I still need to see Poor Things. Those two movies are ones that I've been looking forward to for a while. I'm looking forward to seeing Anatomy of a Fall. That movie just came out of nowhere and just got tons of award buzz, and I'm like, what is this movie? I haven't seen it. I got to give it a shot. I'm sure there's a whole bunch of other movies I haven't seen yet, but mainly it's Poor Things and The Boy and the Heron that I haven't seen. But those are my favorite films of the year.